Yes,
There
I'm
you
here.
are. Okay, and then Mr. Clark.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so Ms. Stoddard, are you prepared to go forward today to a full hearing for a decision to be made today?
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Clark, are you ready to go forward today?
Yeah, I'm ready. I haven't
Okay.
contacted legal counsel, but I want this to be behind us, so I'm
Well,
ready.
this is the deal. Today is the hearing, and whatever happens binds you. Maybe something you like, maybe something you don't like. But I don't want any equivocation. I need you to be certain, both of you. You know, if we get going and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you think, well, I should have brought this evidence, I should have sent that I should have had counsel, I should have, too late. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm asking that question now. So,
Yep.
Mr.
I'm
Clark.
ready. I'm ready. Yes.
Okay. All right. Because you mentioned you were thinking about having counsel.
No, I just saying. No, I just. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So you're all right. That's your decision. But I just want to be sure you understand the possible consequences. And Ms. Stoddard, then you've filed several things with the court. Mr. Clark, have you taken the opportunity to review all of those things?
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right. Well, I will come back to you after I check with the folks in court, the last case on my calendar to make sure everyone's ready. So, Ms. Johnson,
Yes, Your Honor.
all right, you're there. Mr. Clark is here.
Yes,
And we're
I'm here.
taking up the other case 22352. And let me just get my information before me before I continue on. All right, so whoops, Mr. Clark, you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here. Sorry, I'm just making my way into work. It went longer than I thought.
Okay, why don't you get yourself somewhere where you can settle?
Yep, I'm settled right now.
You're stopped, you're not driving?
Yep, I'm stopped right now.
Okay, good. All right. So, previously everyone said they were ready. Of course, probably didn't expect that you'd be here through the morning and you're on your way to work. Mr. Clark, you still prepared to take this up?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then Ms. Stoddard, ready to take things up?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we're here on case number 22352. Ms. Stoddard was granted a temporary protection order against Mr. Clark, and this was served on the 5th. Now, today is the 9th, and let's see. Everyone, if I remember correctly, everyone had a chance to look at everything in the court file. All right, so let me put Ms. Stoddard, raise your right hand with me if you would. I'm going to put you under oath. Ms. Stoddard, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Clark, if you'd raise your right hand. Thanks. Do you swear to tell the truth, Mr. Clark, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I've read, I had an opportunity to review the petition, the exhibits that have been filed. Get those up. And again, I'm looking to another screen as I look at your file. And if there's something you want me to look at an exhibit, please tell me what you're looking at so everyone is knowing what we're talking about. But Ms. Stoddard, I've read your petition. I've looked at the exhibits. Is there anything else or in particular or something new that you want the court to know? You don't have to rehash all of the things that you've already presented unless there's something you want the court to focus in on.
No, I was just reviewing the file and I noticed that there was also a handwritten note that was slipped through my door that wasn't uploaded. I think maybe I missed that, but I did forward it to the clerk, but it looks like it was missed. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, did we get something new? Looking at my clerk, something new filed. And you filed it how?
I filed it, I emailed it to the clerk along with other exhibits, but I think maybe it was missed because and it was, yeah, it's handwritten.
Okay. And Mr. Clark, you didn't file anything in response, did you?
No, I haven't.
And that's fine. I just want to be sure that I've got what I got.
Thank you.
Right. The only email we got with exhibits was on the 6th of January, and we did receive several items. Did you do a separate sending of information, or you're saying that you thought was included in that we received on the 6th in the morning?
Yeah, I thought it was included, but I think that I missed it.
Okay.
I thought I saw it because the clerk had me review everything, and I thought I saw it when I reviewed it, but I just looked recently and I noticed it wasn't there, and it was too late. So, but I just wanted to mention that.
All right. Well, you can tell me about it, or if you think it's so persuasive that you want more time to deal with it and get it into the court and get it to Mr. Clark, we can talk about that too, or you can just.
Yeah, I'd be happy to tell you about it. No problem.
Okay. All right. So let me just have to click deeply into everything, and now that I've sort of got myself reorg here. All right. So why don't you go ahead with what you want the court to think about or look at or know?
So basically just everything that I submitted. There was a night on December 27th that I didn't answer Brian's phone call in a timely manner, according to him, even though when he called, I sent him a text message stating that I was working, so I wasn't going to be able to talk to him. And when I did call him back a couple hours later, he was obviously upset and angry that I didn't return his phone call. And he demanded that I call him in the future, that I pick up the phone when he calls. No matter if I'm busy or not, I need to at least answer his phone call and inform him verbally that I'm busy. And I stated that was unreasonable. I sent you a text that I'm busy. I don't need to pick up your phone call and verbally announce that I'm busy. I just felt like that was controlling and unreasonable. And I informed him of that, and he wouldn't accept it. He wanted to keep arguing over the phone, saying that's not a big deal, and just keep fighting over the phone. And I just wanted it to be over. So I tried to end the phone call. I said, good night. I'm going to go enjoy my night. Please stop. I don't want to fight. And he hung up the phone and called right back, I guess wanting to fight more. I'm not sure, but I wasn't accepting his phone call. So after that, he sent a text a little bit later that said, I want my laptop. And at this point, I knew he was just using an excuse to come and talk.
I've read all of this in your petition. That's kind of what I'm getting at here, is you did a very good attachment that's readable and detailed. Is there something other than what I've already looked at, or do you want me to focus in on something? Because I've already read all of this information that you presented. I kind of wanted to focus in, and you said there's something new. Well, you got something under the door.
My main issue is that the last time I spoke to Brian was December 28th, when I, announced that this relationship was over. His behavior at my door was super scary and made me feel uncomfortable. And I was just in shock that this whole thing even happened. I didn't know that this was in him, and he's not the person I thought he was. And so I asked him not to contact me anymore. And he continued to contact me, so I blocked his number. After I blocked his number, I guess there's an app where you can download different phone numbers. He continued to text me with, I don't even know how many phone numbers he used to continue to text me. Probably maybe up to 20, because I kept every time he sent a text, I kept blocking it, and he would immediately download another number and text me again. And so that's when I filed for the protection order, because I felt like I was being harassed and I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe that night he came to my door unannounced. So
that was 7th. called at work, came to your door. On the 28th was the last time you spoke with him. And when I look at the exhibits that you, the attachments to your petition, they're all text messages. Like,
Mhm. If you
and
notice that, yes, if you notice the text messages, they're all different numbers because I blocked his normal number.
when did those come in? Sometime between the time you got the temporary restraining order and the 28th, when you said don't call
Yes,
me?
it was at the time that I got the protection order and then up to January 4th. So I asked him not to contact me on the 28th, and he continued contacting me and using various sources up until January 4th. And I believe he may have stopped because the Mason County Sheriff called him to request that he come and pick up his paperwork.
And there's discussion throughout this about, you still have my stuff. What was that about?
He stated that I had his Australian candy, his half bottle of liquor, and a pair of pants and 2 shirts. I looked all through my apartment because I didn't want to have anything else to do with him. There was no clothes. I threw away the candy and threw away the alcohol.
What about the laptop we're starting to talk about?
Oh, he got the laptop that night. So when he came to my door yelling and screaming and then requesting his laptop, and I wanted to give him his laptop and the rest of his stuff because basically I was done with this relationship. I just couldn't believe the way he was acting. I didn't even know. It was surreal and I was in shock. So I started gathering all of his stuff, including his laptop. But the thing is, I knew it was a bad idea for me to open that door because of the way he was acting. It scared me. I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to give him his stuff, but I knew I shouldn't open the door. So finally, after a while, when I was sure that he walked off, I placed all of his items outside the door. And during this time, he was calling and texting, banging on my door, calling and texting. So I picked up one of his phone calls and I said, all of your stuff is outside the door, take it and leave. So he came to pick up his laptop and the rest of his stuff, and then he wouldn't leave. He continued banging on my door, demanding for me to open it, saying I'm being ridiculous, calling me names, effing B this, effing B that, saying I need therapy and I need help, just outlandish. And this is at the top of his lungs. He's screaming at the top of his lungs. I called my friend. I FaceTimed my friend because I just didn't know what to do. He wouldn't leave, even after he got his laptop.
And I think you included that as well in your exhibits.
Yeah, so I FaceTimed my friend because I was scared and I just didn't know what to do. I just wanted someone there with me.
So how did that resolve?
I'm sorry?
How did that event resolve?
He went back to his car, I guess, to get a Christmas gift that I gave him. And he threw it at my door and said, take your cheap $20 sunglasses back. I'm done with you. Just some more yelling and screaming, cussing, calling me names. And then he finally left.
Okay. And then that was the
27th.
When? 27th?
27th that night.
Okay, and then you came to the court on the 30th.
Yes.
And that was granted. Okay. 27th was a Tuesday night, and then you got your Friday. Okay. All right. The last time you spoke was on the 28th, and all right, I think I've got that. So I interrupted you a bit. Anything else?
That's okay. Well, the last time I spoke to him was the 28th, just requesting him not to contact me anymore. And then he just continued to text me, like I said, with all sorts of different numbers, emailing me. He tried sending me an Instagram message, just complete disrespect of my boundaries. I was just so appalled, and I just didn't feel safe. Like, I don't even know who this person is. I met him a year and a half ago online. We've been off and on since. There's been flags that, red flags that I ignored. Obviously, I should have kept it, I shouldn't have gone back the first time. But, I saw the signs and I just believed him when he said he was going to change and get better. But it just got worse and worse and worse. And honestly, I don't know what he's capable of, and I have no interest in finding out. So I just want him to leave me alone. He has a problem with respecting boundaries. He has a problem with impulse control, self-control. I just don't think he's going to be able to on his own, because he's proven he hasn't been able to. Sorry, excuse me.
All right, so since the temporary restraining order, anything occur?
I basically had to change my phone number because he wouldn't stop texting me with all the sorts of these numbers. It was giving me like mild panic attacks, anxiety, and stress.
This was before or after the temporary restraining order was issued?
After the temporary restraining order.
And
this was maybe like 5 days after.
This wasn't served until the 5th of January.
Yes, they were having complications locating him because he moved in with his mom, and I've never been to his mom's house, and I don't have his mom's address.
Before Thursday, he was contacting you?
Yes, up to January 4th.
Okay.
And what really, I was always feeling uncomfortable and unsafe since the night he came to my door. But the fact that I asked him not to ever come to my apartment again on the 27th, and he said, I won't. And then he actually showed up at my apartment door again, slipped a note through my door mentioning a concern for my health. He said something like, hey, I need to see you. I need you to come talk to me and see me because there's something that I'm worried about with our health.
Okay. And when around did that happen?
I believe that was January.
So the first was
1st.
Monday. Okay.
Yeah, it was January 1st because that was the day I was trying to host my daughter's birthday party. And I had that note slipped through my door.
All right. And he was not yet served till the 5th. Okay. All right.
And then after that, he also sent, I think, emails January 3rd. Sent emails also mentioning something with his health, saying he's super sick and he needs me to come talk to him.
And you've included those, I believe. Those
yes.
You've included those as exhibits. All right.
Yes. And I believe obviously this was just a desperate way for me to go back in contact with him and see him for whatever reason.
And since Thursday, though, you haven't received any texting, emails, Instagram, anything in particular, notes under the door?
No, I don't believe I've received anything ever since January 4th.
Okay. Before I turn to Mr. Clark, is there anything else?
Just that Brian, and I've always known this, that Brian struggles a lot with emotional, mental stability. I've tried helping him through this, and basically the only thing that's happened is he's gotten worse and worse. He's always had problems controlling his anger and his actions towards his anger. I'm just happy that I got out now, but Brian also has a hard time moving past things. He kind of ruminates and kind of almost creates these stories in his head where he just boils inside, and then he kind of he reacts to it later on. So I don't know. I just don't feel safe. I feel like he's always going to find a way to harass me, because basically I've been harassed for the past 2 weeks. He doesn't stop. I guess that's all I want to say.
All right.
Also, Your Honor, I have 2 small kids and I don't want to have to worry about them too.
We did not include them in the temporary order.
I mentioned it in the temporary order. There was a
in your
section
petition, but it wasn't included in the order. They weren't included in the order. How old are your kids?
9 and 12.
Okay. All
And
right.
thankfully, my kids were with their dad that night that he tried to come over.
Okay.
So they haven't observed any of this. I was always unsure about Brian. There was always something about him that just made me feel unsettled, I guess. So I kind of distanced my kids from him. They didn't really go into that much contact with Brian, just because I just wasn't sure. There was something a little off. So I didn't feel comfortable. There's maybe a few, when I first started dating him, it was a little bit more often, but then when we got back together recently, I made sure that they had more distance. Since we've been together, they've seen him one time.
All right. So let me turn to Mr. Clark. This request that this order continue. I guess the first question is, your response to all of this, frankly.
Well, I just want to start off by saying I'm sorry to Justina for continuing to contact her. It wasn't right of me to continue to contact her, and I know that, and I was worried about getting some of my things back that I thought she still had, and I believe her that she doesn't have them. I'm willing to let that go. I don't want to deal with that anymore. I don't want to be in a relationship with her anymore. I don't want to continue anything. I apologize for how I continued to try and contact her because I thought she still had some of my stuff. Even if she does, it doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm completely over it, and I feel bad for how I reacted. And I felt like we were pretty close, and we've had an on and off relationship for almost 2 years, and she has in the past blocked me and unblocked me and like contacted me after she blocked me, and so even though I was out of bounds, we've had that blocking and unblocking. She's done that several times over our relationship, and it's one of the things I've asked her to not do, because even if we're still in a relationship, she gets mad and she just blocks me and cuts me off, and I have no way to talk to her. And that night that if things went down, I was just asking her if she could just, because she was in the middle of talking to me at her lunch, and she said she had to go really quick and she was calling me later after she gets off, and because she had something pop up. And I said that's fine, and she didn't contact me until later that night. And then I asked her she thought I was irritated. I was a little bit, but I was just trying to move past it, and she kept asking me. So I told her, I was like, maybe if you could, I would like it if you could, call me back when you say you call me back. And it turned into a thing where I'm not doing that. I'm not, and I wasn't trying to be controlling, but it turned into that's what she felt like it was. And I understand that, but that's not what I was trying to do. And we got into an argument and spiraled into that. And I think you can even see in the text messages, I just asked her to retrieve my laptop so I could work on one of my resumes, because it doesn't matter, because she would berate me about where I am in life and how I'm doing, and that I moved back in with my mom for a little bit. But I was trying to improve myself to help our relationship, and I was just asking if I could retrieve my laptop for the night. It wasn't like I'm coming to get my stuff. And she didn't answer my text messages. And so in the past, she would come over to my place unannounced and just pop in, and that's fine. And so I was just, maybe she was busy, and I knew her kids weren't there. So I knew no one was there. So I was just going to come by and grab my laptop. Maybe she didn't see my message, but I heard voices as I was walking up that weren't hers. I knocked on the door and everything's silenced, but I could see her car's there and I could see the lights are on. I could tell that she's there, but she wouldn't respond at all. And I thought something had happened to her or something was wrong with her. That's why I was continuing to knock and raise my voice, because I was concerned about what was going on with her, because she refused to answer the door. And then I finally just left, and I called her and texted her, and then she finally responded and saying that all my stuff is outside. and I had no idea what the context or why it even happened. And that was basically saying she's done with everything, and she wouldn't talk to me. And said, when I got to the door, I said, hey, there's still some stuff that you didn't put out here. So I wanted just the rest of my stuff so we could call it. And she wouldn't do it. And of course, I shouldn't have continued to try and talk to her. I should have left, but I continued to try and contact her and tell her, like, just give me my stuff and we can call it quits. And then I left, and then I continued to try and contact her because I thought she still had some of my things. And instead of trying to go to law enforcement about it, I was just trying to get in touch with her and just trying to get her to get my stuff back so we can move on, because I was thinking that maybe it was going to spiral into another relationship like we had before, where it just continues on and we just keep going through the same pattern. I didn't want that. But I do apologize to her for doing that. And I feel really bad. I don't want her to think that I'm going to try and follow her around or anything like that. I just wanted to conclude our relationship, and I had no idea that it was that far, or going that far, that where she was wanted to get a restraining or a court order against me. I didn't know that. I had no clue. And as soon as I had figured that out, I stopped, and I feel bad for making her uncomfortable, and I really care about her. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I don't think that this is necessary, because I've even tried before to do couples counseling with us, and I'm waiting in line for therapy just so I can be a better person for us and to make things work. But I don't think it's necessary for this to happen, because I don't want to continue things, and I don't want my things back, and there's no reason for me to contact her, and I will not contact her anymore. And I'm really sorry for continuing to reach out, and I deeply apologize for that.
Right.
Your Honor,
Ms. Stoddard?
his statement that he was concerned for me doesn't really make sense when he was yelling and screaming at me, demanding me to open the door, while he was calling me effing B that and effing B that. That doesn't really show that he was caring for my safety.
So I have to apply the law to this. This is not a good situation. I understand why you asked the court for an order, but we're talking about a time frame of about a week, when Mr. Clark was served with this IC by January 5th. So I have to apply the law to a preponderance of the evidence as the petitioner showed that there's a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at you with the intent to harass, annoy, be detrimental, that serves no legitimate or lawful purpose under the law. I mean, there's several components. Now, I don't find that there's sufficient evidence for the court to issue an order, but I think this has been very useful. Mr. Clark, Ms. Stoddard wants nothing to do with you. She doesn't want to hear from you. She doesn't want to hear from your family, your friends. She doesn't want to hear anything about your life. Doesn't want you to contact her in a year and say, oh, I'm much better or I'm much worse. Doesn't want anything to do with you. She's done. And she's made that clear. It seems kind of at the end of a relationship, didn't act the best way you should. If the law doesn't let me issue orders when people are being obnoxious, being ugly, being rude, being overbearing, and there has to be a finding of preponderance that there was no legitimate or lawful purpose. There was some property exchange here. There was the end of a relationship. There was confusion and emotions running high. And I don't see a history that would allow under the law to issue this. So what this means is the order ends now. But again, Mr. Clark, don't contact Ms. Stoddard. She doesn't want anything to do with you. So
I will not.
obviously, if there were to be anything more, Ms. Stoddard, you can always, I would hope there wouldn't be. Mr. Clark, I think there's been a good lesson, good instruction. But
yeah.
Ms. Stoddard, you can come back to the Superior Court, you can come back to the District Court, you can come back to your municipal court and apply with any, I hope not, but if there's other further information, then at that point there'd be a pattern and it would be looked at, this would be looked at in concert with later. So write up an order that does away with the temporary order But again, Mr. Clark, don't contact Ms. Stoddard. All right.
I will not. And I just wanted to tell Justina I'm really sorry for doing that, and I won't contact her anymore. And I wish her the best, and I'm really really sorry. That's all I want to say.
Okay, you got that across. So Ms. Stoddard, any questions?
Nope, that is everything. Thank you for your time. I hope that Brian will be able to control himself and really will actually stay away from me and leave me alone. And that's it.
Okay, I think we've made that clear. So Mr. Clark, any questions?
Nope. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. All right, you can both be on your way. Thank you. Have a better rest of the day.
Thank you.